A woman wrote an interesting article saying that she and her husband had hired an interior decorator to come in and redo their home. And in the process of this, her husband went out and he purchased a 16 by 20 inch picture of Jesus, and he hung it over the mantle in the living room. The interior decorator took some objection to it because she said it didn't match the decor of the rest of the house. And the wife tried to convince him to maybe put it somewhere else, but his mind would not be changed. The picture of Jesus was staying there. And she said it had a profound effect on their family and on their visitors. She said that one visitor came and looked up at the picture and then said to her, "Every time I come into your home, I feel so much at peace." And another one came and looking at the picture of Jesus said, "I look at that picture and Jesus doesn't look at us. He seems to be looking through me." And she said, over and above that, the conversations with friends that visited changed. They were at a much higher and a better level, and she said it was because that picture was there. And she said in the article, maybe people would smile at her or even mock her out for believing that, but she said there's no doubt in her mind that when they invited Jesus into their home, their lives were never the same. And I think that's a message today. Jesus often went into people's homes and then he made a difference. In the gospel, where we see he went into the home of this bride and groom, they celebrated weddings for a whole week. We just have a wedding reception on Saturday night, but they went for a whole week. And so running out of wine would have been a pretty bad thing. And of course, our Blessed Mother alerts Jesus to it, and he does respond after she says to them, "Do whatever he tells you." And of course, as we know, Jesus makes the most incredible wine that they have ever tasted. Things were never the same with that couple. Jesus came into their home and there was a miracle. And look at other places in the gospel. Remember Zacchaeus, the short guy that knew Jesus was coming into town, and he wanted to see him, so he climbed up a tree. And Jesus spotted him and said, "Zacchaeus, come down from there. I want to stay at your house today." And as they walked along and discussed things, by the time they got to his home, Zacchaeus, who had been a really swindling tax collector, gave back all the money that he had stolen from the poor 4 times over, and gave, in addition to that, gave money to the poor. Jesus changed his life when he came into his home. Remember Jairus, he went into his home, his daughter was dead, she had just died, and Jesus raised her back to life. Their lives were never the same because Jesus entered their home. And we could go on, and for example, I was thinking, if you have a college student that comes home from school for a weekend or a holiday, and on the way back, she says to your daughter, "I notice that your family's very Christian." She says, "I don't remember ever praying before meals when I was growing up. That was such a nice thing to do." And she said, "And I noticed in your home that nobody ever put anybody else down in their conversations." Jesus entered that house and made a difference in that girl's life. We can give so many examples of how Jesus coming into our lives makes a difference. When, I think it was in Acts of the Apostles, where Jesus says, "I come and knock at the door, and whoever opens and lets me in, I will bring abundant blessings." He knocks at the doors of our heart continually to let him into our hearts. And so we might ask the question today, if an interior decorator came into your home, would they recognize that Jesus had an influence in your life, that you're followers of Christ? It could be a crucifix, it could be a statue of the Sacred Heart, it could be a picture. Is there something that tells people we're followers of Christ? And if he opens the door of your heart, are all the things in your heart that we guard with our hearts, is it things that would make Jesus pleasing to be with us? Very simple questions, but profound in a real way. The miracle at Feast at Cana was the first of Jesus' public signs, revealing that he had supernatural power. And I think it's interesting that he performed this miracle with the wine at the beginning of his public life. And at the end of his public life, at the Last Supper, he turned wine into his own blood. There's correlation there. Jesus enters the house, something happens. So tonight we have a good message for us to meditate upon during the week, inviting Jesus into our lives by the way we speak, by what we do in our homes, and by the evidence that we are followers of Jesus.